What is up, everybody, and welcome to FLW Videos. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Pokemon Go Fest Day 1. This is going to be taking place on July 17th from 10 a.m. within your local time until 6 p.m. And we're going to be talking about the top Pokemon that you want to focus on throughout the day. Now, there's actually going to be a huge difference between ticket holders and non-ticket holders as far as the spawns are concerned, and maybe you've already heard about that. But a little detail that you may not have known is that you're going to have to actually use an incense if you're a ticket holder to be able to get those special spawns for you. So it is very important for ticket holders to use the incense so that you can get those incredible extra spawns, which we will be talking about today. I just had to mention that in the beginning, so you've got all the details for that. Along the way, while we're talking about the top Pokemon, I'll also be giving some tips for Pokemon that I'm going to skip altogether. For example, an Aipom is what I refer to as a ball hog. It's extremely difficult to catch on the first throw, so for me, I'm going to completely skip it. So of course, we'll be talking about that throughout the list and talking about many more details as well. But anyways, if you do enjoy this episode, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. So you may have heard and been very hyped about Day 2 of Pokemon Go Fest, where all of the legendary Pokemon are coming back and people are just crazy excited about that. But you may end up overlooking the fact that on Day 1, there's still going to be raids going on, and you're actually going to be seeing Mewtwo in as the legendary raid boss exclusively from July 16th until July 23rd, which means for Day 1 of Pokemon Go Fest, it's simply just going to be Mewtwo in as the legendary raid boss. And because there's going to be so many people kind of hyped about Go Fest, it's going to be very similar to a community day like a Garchomp community day where there's going to be a ton of people out. So you might as well take advantage of a ton of people playing the game all at once and focus exclusively, as far as raids are concerned, on the Pokemon Mewtwo, because a lot of people will be out there and you're not going to be competing. In Day 2, there's the potential that Mewtwo may not spawn as much because so many Pokemon could potentially spawn, or they may be really spread out. So just be on the lookout for that. And of course, if you're trying to get yourself XL candies, then the more Mewtwo raids you can do, the better. So I wanted to go ahead and mention that. And then of course, there's also going to be Mega Gengar going on for Day 1 as well, which ends up being a great counter going up against a Mewtwo. So you might as well go ahead and get yourself some of that Mega Energy that you need to evolve up to a Mega Gengar for Day 1, so I wanted to go ahead and mention that. Now let's go ahead and dive into this. We're going to be talking about the 4 habitats and what I would do specifically for the different Pokemon. So I've actually got a lot of questions about habitats, and what's going to end up happening is there's simply just a theme that happens throughout the entire day, and every hour the Pokemon that spawn are just going to be different. So the first hour is going to end up being jungle, which means that these Pokemon are going to spawn for ticket holders. And then for non-ticket holders, it's just going to be like these 3. There will be a couple more, but these are like the highlighted Pokemon. And then after the hour's over, these Pokemon go away and a new set of Pokemon end up spawning. So I wanted to mention that. A lot of people are been kind of confused. They're worried they have to go to a specific like environment. Just get out and play like normal. So we're going to be talking about this. We've got jungle, desert, ocean, and then cave. They will do it. They'll rotate, 1, 2, 3, and then finally 4, and then they will repeat again. So the 5th hour will also be jungle. But anyways, let's dive into the actual Pokemon. That is what you're here for. So for the jungle hour, the top Pokemon that I'm going to focus on, I'll go ahead and kind of pick 3 roughly for each of the different habitats. Scyther's going to be a great one, a little bit on the rare side as of more recent time, but you've got the Pokemon Scizor, which is great in the Ultra League, so get yourself the right IVs. You are going to have to use a metal coat to be able to evolve up to a Scizor, so that can happen at any point in time though, but just getting Scizor candy, getting it ready for Ultra League, that's going to be a solid option. For Aipom, I'm completely skipping the catching of this Pokemon. It's a very difficult Pokemon to catch, and it's what I refer to as a ball hog, if you will. So with Aipom, if you took part in the just spotlight hour for Aipom, you'll notice that you may have used Ultra Balls, and you may have even used Raspberries, and you still were not able to catch the Aipom on the first throw. And then of course, if you ask yourself the question, well, what's the point in catching an Aipom in the first place? Maybe Stardust, right? But there's so many other Pokemon that offer the exact same benefit that are easier to catch, that you're more likely to catch it on the first throw. So for me personally, Aipom is completely out of the picture. If you want to go ahead and maybe do some checks or something and get yourself a shiny, like if you get yourself a shiny, then of course catch it. But I'm personally going to skip it. I want to save my resources as much as possible for other Pokemon that we'll be talking about on this list. Froakie is in a very similar situation because it does have a low base catch rate, but the difference is Froakie could be worth it in the future if it gets a Community Day exclusive move, which it most likely will. So I will be catching a Froakie, getting that ready for its future Community Day. And then of course, if we go ahead and talk about the event exclusive spawns, I think that this is a little bit on the weaker side, but the only Pokemon I'd probably focus on catching is Chatot, just because it's regionally exclusive. For me, I don't have access to this Pokemon, so I'm going to try to catch a few so I can do some trades with people who don't partake in GoFest. That way they don't have to travel all the way across the world just to catch a little virtual Pokemon, but hey, that's just my opinion. But anyways, we'll go ahead and talk a little bit more about this. I think Serperior is a little bit of a trick because it's going to be extremely difficult to catch because of its low catch rate. And then secondly, if it doesn't have its Community Day exclusive move, what's the point in catching it? So that's at least my opinion on it. It's already had its Community Day. So for me, I'm probably going to skip catching this Pokemon just because I know it's going to end up using a lot of resources to catch it. And then Leafeon, you know, you don't have to use a Mossy Lure module, I guess. So to that extent, sure, a little bit of value. Ludicolo is just a fun Pokemon to catch, but I don't think people will be overly focused on it. So let's go to move on to the Desert Mountain. This is going to be happening at 11 a.m. in your local time, and then I believe 3 p.m. as well. It's going to be the second rotation. A lot of value out of this one, so especially if you're interested in PvP. So Skarmory and Shieldon evolving into Bastiodon, great for the Great League. Skarmory, great for the Great League, and it can also be good in the Ultra League, but you are required to have XL candies, so you're going to need to catch an absolute ton of them, but hey, if it's spawning, now's going to be the time to be able to do that. And then finally, we've got the Pokemon Tyranitar. Absolutely incredible to get yourself a Tyranitar. If you end up getting this spawning in the wild, this is of course going to be for ticket holders. So of course, make sure you use your incense because that's the only way you're going to get these exclusive Pokemon is through the incense if you are a ticket holder. But with Tyranitar, what I'm going to recommend is this is probably the only Pokemon throughout this entire list, besides Mewtwo that we talked about, that I am 100% going to dedicate my Pineapple Berries to almost exclusively. Because if you end up getting this third evolution Pokemon, you're talking about 20 Larvitar candy before even a transfer. And then of course you've got XL candies that will come along with it. So I think Tyranitar is a huge way to take advantage of getting yourself the ever rare Larvitar candy. So that's at least what I'm going to be doing. And if you only get yourself 1 or 2, I mean, you're still talking about 40 plus Larvitar candy. So I am highly focused on Tyranitar. That's easily going to be like one of the top Pokemon that I want to definitely catch. And then of course you got a Pokemon like Flygon, but Flygon's a little tricky because from my understanding, the Flygon that you catch during this hour is not going to know the exclusive move Earth Power, which is interesting because there's going to be a bonus throughout the entire event that if you evolve into a Flygon, you can learn the Community Day exclusive move of Earth Power. So if you catch it, I haven't heard that you'll get Earth Power, maybe you will, right? But it's only focused on Pokemon that you evolve during GoFest, that if you evolve up to a Flygon, you will get that exclusive move Earth Power. So kind of an interesting situation and something to kind of keep in mind. You could catch it for candy purposes maybe, but I don't think it's going to have Earth Power, but I'm hoping that I end up being wrong. And then of course you got Throw here. If it's regionally exclusive to you, then yeah, you definitely want to catch that one. Very similar situation to Chatot. And then of course we go ahead and move on to Ocean Beach Hour, some Pokemon that I think are going to provide the most value. We've got Dratini. So Dratini's going to be great to evolve, of course, up into Dragonite. Great from the raid side as a budget non-legendary dragon option. And then of course for PvP, Dragonite is just incredible, especially in the Master League. And then of course you got Swablu. We did have a Community Day already for Altaria, so it's not going to know its exclusive Community Day move. But if you missed out on that, then maybe you get yourself one and maybe consider Elite Charge TMing at some point in time. But then the most value, at least in my opinion, as far as candy is concerned, is Gyarados. So Gyarados is going to end up saving you 400 Magikarp candy for every Gyarados that you catch. So that's a huge deal for newer players or players that just don't see a lot of Magikarp. So I imagine a lot of people being excited about that. Gyarados is great from the raid side. It's also great from the PvP side. And then of course it has its Mega Evolution made available, and it does share the dark typing. So who knows? Maybe you could potentially get that ready and maybe end up using it for day 2 when you go up against a Pokemon like Mewtwo. And then of course you've got Sock, which is regional, so depending on that, may not be a lot of value to, just depends on where you live. But those are going to be kind of the Pokemon that I focus on. And then finally we've got Cave Hour. Now for non-ticket holders, Cave Hour is easily the one that you want to focus on. So this is going to be during the 4th hour, so this will be at 2 p.m. and then it will also be the last hour of the event at 7 p.m. This is the one that you want to focus on because the spawns for non-ticket holders, and of course for ticket holders, right? But these are going to be the best ones because Dino is just incredibly rare. You had to get a lot of them from eggs, for example. We had a fiasco like 8, 9, 10 months ago about that, but this is going to be a Pokemon that people are going to be super focused on, super rare. Cross your fingers, get yourself the shiny variation of it, Hydreigon. It really is just rare. That's kind of like why people want to focus on it. And then from a utility perspective, we've got Galarian Stunfisk, which is so good in PvP in the Great League as well as the Ultra League. But to use it in the Ultra League, you do need XL Candy. So use this opportunity to catch as many as you possibly can. And that's kind of where the value sort of stops. Umbreon, I feel like it does need Last Resort. So that's going to be an Elite Charge team that you'll have to dedicate. Gardevoir is in a very similar situation as the Pokemon Flygon that we talked about earlier, because Gardevoir is going to learn the exclusive move Synchronoise if you evolve up to a Gardevoir during Pokemon Go Fest. But if you catch yourself a Gardevoir, we haven't really heard anything about if it will have Synchronoise or not. But even if it does, you don't want it because Synchronoise is not the most ideal moveset for Gardevoir anyways. But at least for candy purposes, once again, that could be an option for you. But at least in my opinion, Cave Hour is just the best for everyone, including non-ticket holders, mostly just because of Galarian Stunfisk as well as Dino. Heavy influence on the Pokemon Dino. And then something final to mention is that we are going to be doing some special research that's going to be for ticket holders, where you can get some pretty funny Pokemon. We talked about it earlier, but you'll still be able to get yourself a Flygon and a Gardevoir, but the difference is it's going to have a festive hat. And we all like hats in Pokemon Go. And then, of course, you got Galarian Zigzagoon, and then we've got the Galarian Ponyta that are going to have those exclusive hats as well to kind of represent Meloetta. But it's going to be a ton of fun throughout that. So I at least think, for me, Tyranitar, top priority. Mewtwo raids, another top priority. And then, of course, getting some of those regional Pokemon are going to be a huge influence on how I play day 1, besides just getting out there and grinding. But I would absolutely love to know which Pokemon you plan on focusing on catching throughout day 1 of Pokemon Go Fest. Make sure you let me know in the comment section below. And then, of course, what Pokemon are you excited about getting as far as shinies are concerned? Let me know in the comment section below. And I will see you next time, but not without giving a huge shout out to the supporters over at Patreon. Thank you so much. We've got an exclusive raid server on Discord where we'll be coordinating for raids for Pokemon Go Fest. So if you're interested in that, supporting the channel and connecting with fellow Pokemon Go players, make sure to check out the Patreon link in the description, and I will see you next time.